Yo, look at their faces, huh? They saw the glow, the smooth skin, the youthful spark, and they thought it meant weakness. They thought it meant easy target. Oh wow, mistake of the century. You look younger. Yeah, but your mind's been through storms, scars, and battles they could never even imagine. They judged the cover and ignored the fire inside the pages. Nah, that's where they lost everything. So tell me, when the mask of youth fools them and the blade of patience cuts deeper than their arrogance, who's really laughing now? They didn't underestimate you because you were weak. They underestimated you because you looked younger than the wars you've already survived. That's the trick, isn't it? The face fools them. The skin plays a game. Your age sits in silence, hidden behind a reflection that whispers freshness, while your mind, oh, your mind is carved with scars no mirror could ever capture. And they thought they could mess with you. Yeah. They saw the glow, the youth on your face, and they made the biggest mistake of their lives. They assumed that appearance equals inexperience, that smoothness equals softness, that looking young meant you were easy prey. Oh wow, how wrong they were. Because behind that youthful mask lives a storm. Behind that smile lives a history. Behind those eyes lives a patience, sharpened by trials they could never even imagine. They thought you were harmless, like a candle that could be blown out with one breath. But they forgot. Candles have started fires that burn down empires. And here's the brutal truth. People love to confuse appearance with capacity. They think age is what grants you wisdom, and looks are what deny it. Nah, wisdom doesn't wait for wrinkles. Strength doesn't need a calendar. Some people are forged fast, pressed by pressure so relentless that they grow decades in a single year. And you're one of them. They mistook your face for your fate. They mistook your youth for your weakness. But weakness has never lived here. What lives here is restraint. What lives here is observation. What lives here is that quiet silence of someone who knows exactly when to strike. And when you finally moved, oh, it terrified them. Because your silence wasn't inexperience, it was calculation. Your restraint wasn't fear, it was strategy. And your youth, that wasn't a handicap. That was camouflage. You wore it like armor. Let them mock, let them whisper, let them smirk. Every joke they cracked about your age was nothing more than free fuel. Every insult was a spark, and you didn't waste time correcting them. You let them believe, you let them laugh, you let them build castles of arrogance in their minds, because you already knew what happens when arrogance meets reality. And then when the moment came, when the mask had to drop, when the truth had to bleed out, you didn't just prove them wrong. You shattered their entire picture of you. You crushed their little narrative with one move, one act, one undeniable reminder that you are not defined by appearance, by numbers, or by the shallow judgments of cowards. You see, they live in illusions. They stare at a face and think they've read the whole story. But a book isn't judged by its cover. It's judged by the battles inside the pages. And your pages? They're written in endurance. They're marked by struggle. They're soaked in lessons that don't fade. And when they realized this, their smirks died in their throats. Their confidence melted. Their little games collapsed. Because what they underestimated wasn't just you. It was the weight of everything you've carried. And nothing is heavier than someone who has carried silence. scars, and patience all at once. They thought your youth was a weakness. It was a weapon. And that weapon is only just beginning to show its edge. Because if they were shaken by what you've already done, tell me, what will they do when you stop holding back? When you stop holding back, the world doesn't just notice, it trembles. Because the restraint you've shown so far, that was mercy. That was you moving at half speed, letting them believe they were ahead, letting them think their words had weight. You gave them the luxury of comfort. But comfort makes people blind. Comfort makes people sloppy. Comfort makes them forget that silence doesn't mean surrender. And now, that silence is cracking. They thought the version of you they've seen so far was the final form. They thought you'd already revealed your sharpest edges. But the truth is terrifying. You've barely even warmed up. Yeah. All those times you bit your tongue, all those times you stayed still, all those times you let the insult pass, those weren't moments of defeat. Those were the moments you were sharpening the blade behind your back. Oh wow. Imagine their faces when that blade finally flashes in daylight. You see, power isn't about showing everything you have at once. Power is about patience. About letting them underestimate you, about watching their confidence swell, just so you can pierce it in one clean strike. They thought you were young, so they assumed they had time. Nah, what they didn't realize is that your youth wasn't delay, it was disguise. A mask that let you move through the battlefield unseen until the moment you chose to reveal the truth. And when that truth explodes, it's not just about proving them wrong. It's about collapsing their entire worldview. Because once someone realizes they've misjudged you, they're not just wrong about you, they're wrong about everything. If the weak one wasn't weak, then where does that leave them? That's the nightmare you've built for them. Not through lies, not through illusion, but by being sharper, faster, and stronger than they dared to admit. Every second they thought you were beneath them, you were quietly preparing to step over them. And now the step is coming. Listen closely. The same people who dismissed you yesterday will soon be the ones whispering your name tomorrow. The same ones who laughed at you will rewrite history as if they always respected you. That's the hypocrisy of the crowd. They mock when they think it's safe. Then they praise when they realize it's dangerous to ignore you. And you won't even need to answer them. Your existence will answer for you. But don't mistake this for revenge. Revenge is small. What you're carrying is bigger than that. It's about legacy. About reminding them that looking young is not the same as being naive. It's about proving that experience doesn't always show on the surface. It lives inside, hidden in silence, waiting for the perfect hour to erupt. And when it erupts, the noise is deafening. The same silence they mocked will become the silence they fear. Because silence, once it moves, becomes thunder. And thunder, once it cracks, never asks permission. Oh, they'll try to adjust. They'll scramble. They'll make excuses for why they didn't see it coming. But excuses won't save them. Explanations won't soften the blow. Because once you stop holding back, once you unleash the truth of what you are, the game changes forever. And here's the most frightening part for them. This was always inevitable. Every insult they threw at you, every doubt they planted, every smirk they flashed, it was all fuel. They thought they were breaking you down, but all they were doing was building your fire higher. They didn't weaken you. They trained you. They didn't stop you. They sharpened you. And now, with everything you've endured, everything you've swallowed, everything you've carried quietly inside, the question is no longer about what they will do to you. That question has burned away. The question now is something much darker, much heavier, much more dangerous. What will you do to them? The answer is simple. You'll do what they never expected. You'll stand taller than their tallest doubt. They thought the fight was about proving yourself to them. No. The fight was always about proving something to yourself. And now, after everything, you finally see it. They were never the real enemy. The real enemy was the illusion they built around you. The illusion that you were too young, too soft, too untested to matter. That illusion has been choking you like smoke for years. And now you're tearing through it, piece by piece, until nothing remains but clarity. You won't waste your energy chasing revenge. Revenge is short-lived. It fades too quickly, like fire burning out in the wind. What you're after is something colder, sharper, and far more permanent: respect. Not the respect they hand out when they feel generous, but the respect they're forced to give when there's no other choice. The kind that comes when even your enemies know they can't touch you anymore. Yeah, that's the moment you're walking toward. And the best part? You don't even have to scream for it. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. Your existence, your endurance, your refusal to collapse under their weight, that will speak louder than any words. Oh wow. Imagine the silence in the room when they finally realize it. The same mouths that mocked you will fall shut. The same eyes that rolled will stare wide. The same hands that pointed at you will freeze in hesitation, no longer sure if they're dealing with the same person, because they aren't. You've grown beyond the skin they judged. You've turned the wound into steel. Nah, you're not here to play their games anymore. You're here to break the board in half. You're here to show that youth is not weakness, and restraint is not fragility. You're here to prove that being underestimated is not a curse, it's a weapon. Because every second they misjudged you, you were building strength in silence. Every laugh they threw your way was another weight added to your training, and every attempt to belittle you only made your rise more inevitable. And when you finally rise, you don't rise as the same person they mocked. You rise as the storm they never prepared for. You rise as the answer to every insult, every smirk, every dismissal. You rise in a way that leaves them gasping, because deep down they know the truth. They created the very force they now fear. But here's the twist. They won't admit it. They'll never say it out loud. They'll pretend they always knew you had potential, that they always saw something in you. That's the lie they'll tell themselves to protect their pride. But you'll know. You'll remember every word, every gesture, every shadow of doubt they cast, and instead of holding it like poison, you'll hold it like fuel. Because fuel doesn't weaken fire, it feeds it. So what will you do to them? You won't destroy them with anger. You'll destroy them with proof. Proof that you didn't need their validation. Proof that you didn't need their permission. Proof that you didn't need to grow into your strength, because it was always there, waiting for the right moment to erupt. And once that proof is undeniable, once the truth stands taller than their arrogance, you won't even need to fight them anymore. They'll fight themselves. They'll drown in their own realization, struggling to reconcile the fact that the one they mocked is now the one they can't compete with. And when they're left in that silence, staring at the reality they tried to bury. The only question that will haunt them is this: how do you fight someone who turned your mockery into their weapon? You can't fight them. You can only watch as the weapon you forged against them becomes the very blade pressed to your own throat. That's the truth they choke on now. Because every insult, every smirk, every little attempt to box you in, they thought it was clever, they thought it was control. But what they didn't realize is that they were training you, sharpening you, strengthening you. Every time they underestimated you, they gave you another tool. Every time they mocked you, they handed you another reason to rise. And now those reasons have become your arsenal. Now those tools have become your fortress. Now those wounds they tried to inflict have become your armor. Yeah, it's poetic, isn't it? The same people who doubted you are the reason you're untouchable today. The same voices that laughed are the echoes that push you forward. They can't fight you anymore, because fighting you would mean fighting the consequences of their own arrogance. Oh wow. Imagine their horror when they realize this. They stare at you, trying to recognize the naive one they thought they knew. But that person is gone. What stands before them now is a product of their own making, only stronger, sharper, colder than they ever intended. And it terrifies them. Because here's the thing, when someone creates their own destroyer, they can't undo it. They can't rewind the clock. They can't erase the years they fed you with disrespect. Those years built your patience. That patience built your strength. And that strength now towers over them, unshakable, undeniable. Nah, you're not here to beg for their acceptance. You're not here to argue about their past judgments. You're here to make sure they remember one lesson. Underestimating you was the most expensive mistake of their lives. And it doesn't even take violence. It doesn't take shouting. It doesn't take rage. It only takes your presence. Because presence is power. When you walk into the room, the silence shifts. When you speak, the noise dies. When you act, the air grows heavy. That's what true power is, making people adjust themselves just because you exist. And the irony, they thought your youth was a disadvantage, but it wasn't. It was the secret that let you outlast them. While they wasted energy mocking, you were conserving yours. While they clung to illusions, you studied reality. While they burned themselves out, you were quietly building momentum. So now the tables have turned. They're exhausted, running out of excuses, while you're only getting started. And the more they realize this, the more desperate they become. They try to shift the narrative, twist the story, rewrite history in their favor. But it's too late. The truth is visible now, carved into every action you take. And here's the brutal part. You don't even need to lift a finger against them. Life itself exposes them. Every room you enter is proof. Every victory you claim is evidence. Every step you take forward is a reminder that their version of you was nothing but fiction. So how do you fight someone who turned your mockery into their weapon? You don't. You surrender to the reality that you armed them, and now you can't disarm them. That's the trap they walked into, and that's the trap they'll never escape. But let's not stop there, because this isn't just about them. This is about you, what you do now with this weapon in your hands. Because having strength is one thing. Knowing how to use it, that's the real test. And here's the question pressing against the silence, heavier than everything that came before it. Now that you hold this weapon, forged from years of underestimation and doubt, will you use it to simply survive, or will you use it to lead? Survival is for those who still beg for permission. Leadership is for those who've already taken it. That's the line you're standing on now. On one side, just survival, quiet victories, unnoticed strength, small steps that keep you breathing but never shake the ground. On the other side, something far louder, leadership, presence, influence, so sharp it cuts through the lies that once suffocated you. And the choice? It's burning in your hands. If you survive, you stay in their shadow. You prove them wrong, but only for yourself. They'll whisper, they'll still doubt. They'll still spin their little narratives. And maybe you'll smile, satisfied that you outlasted them. But that's small. That's limited. That's the safe road. But if you lead, everything changes. Because leadership doesn't mean you rise alone. Leadership means your rise drags others upward with you. And that's the part they fear most. They weren't just afraid of you proving them wrong. They were terrified of you inspiring others to do the same. Yeah, that's the nightmare they never wanted to face. One person who refuses to break is dangerous, but one person who shows the rest how not to break, that's unstoppable. Oh wow, picture their panic when they see it happening. The same voice they tried to silence becoming the voice that ignites countless others. The same presence they mocked becoming the standard everyone else now follows. That's leadership. Not waiting for respect, but demanding it through action so undeniable it cannot be ignored. Nah. They didn't just underestimate your face, your age, your silence. They underestimated the ripple. They underestimated the echo. They underestimated the fact that once you stood tall, others would remember they could too. And now, whether they admit it or not, you've become the very thing they swore you'd never be, proof. Proof that looking young doesn't mean being weak. Proof that silence doesn't mean ignorance. Proof that restraint doesn't mean lack of strength. Proof that one underestimated soul can break the chains for many. But remember, leadership isn't about arrogance. It isn't about shouting louder than the rest. It's about moving so clearly, so consistently that no one can deny the path you're walking. It's about showing discipline when others crumble. It's about carrying scars like banners, not wounds. And every time you do, you leave a mark deeper than their doubts. So survival or leadership? The world is watching. And the answer is already written in your silence. You didn't endure all those years. You didn't swallow all those insults. You didn't carry all that weight just to survive. You were built to lead. You were built to walk ahead so others could see it's possible. And leadership doesn't need permission. Leadership doesn't wait for applause. Leadership is born when someone finally decides enough is enough. And that's you, right now, at this very moment. So let them keep whispering. Let them rewrite their stories. Let them choke on their excuses. Because when the dust settles, when the silence falls, only one truth will remain standing. You didn't just survive their underestimation. You turned it into your crown. And now, look at them. The same ones who laughed, who mocked, who thought your youth was weakness. They're the ones trembling now. Oh wow, isn't it poetic? They tried to break you, but every attempt only made you sharper. Yeah, they thought they were playing a game, but you flipped the board upside down. So remember this. Your age doesn't define you. Your face doesn't define you. Your fire does. Nah, you weren't the fool in this story. They were. And the best part? You don't even need revenge. Your rise is the revenge.